I'm sure it will be a major inconvenience for Russia to not have access to the SWIFT system. But the West, has threatened this since, I believe, 2016, 2017. And Russia has had all that time to work on their own clearing system.
Yep.
So this is not like a bolt of lightning out of the blue. They've had time to prepare for it. And I would think that if they were not prepared for it, there would not have been an invasion. Next, let me say that Russia is one of the least indebted countries in the world. I think their debt is something like 14% of their GDP. And the West collectively is a debt monster. The U.S. is well over 100% debt to GDP. Japan, I think, is 300% debt to GDP. And to just go back 30 years ago, anytime any country got to 100% debt to GDP, that was the threshold to Banana Republic land. So the picture I'm trying to paint is, from a financial standpoint, Russia is not leveraged, and the West is entirely over-leveraged. So if there's going to be a financial disaster, I don't think it's going to be in Russia. Yeah, their stock market's down, the ruble's gotten hit, they've got bank runs, but they don't owe anybody. One other thing Russia did announce is that starting tomorrow, they are resuming their purchases of gold and precious metals. And obviously, they don't do that on COMEX. They buy it and say, ship it to us.
When there are times of uncertainty, the precious metals seem to shine the most as far as how they not only hold their value, but actually increase their value. Am I off on that?
No, that's correct. But there's an additional factor, and we just spoke about it, the amount of debt in the West. Yep. Gold and silver cannot go bankrupt. Mm-hmm. And what is it that you want to own in a world that is bankrupting? You want to own something, and in this case, gold and silver are money. You would own monies that cannot bankrupt. And when you're talking about counterparty risk, Dave, let me just throw this out there just as a reminder for your listeners. Back in 2008, 2009, it was discovered that there was $1.4 quadrillion worth of derivatives. All of that has counterparty risk. Then they came out and said, "Oh well, we kind of double counted, and there's only 700 or 800 trillion." Well, here we are, 12 years later, 14 years later. It's definitely over 1.4 quadrillion of leverage out there that has counterparty risk.
Russia and China had set up an alternative to the SWIFT system a number of years ago, all ready to go. Europe, that is in desperate need of gas and oil, buys gas and oil and will continue to try to buy gas and oil from Russia. And the United States also buys gas and oil from Russia using that same SWIFT system. Yet this is something that they want to kick Russia out of. Bill, exactly, did anyone think this through, or is it just me that's confused?
It shocks me that they're doing this. I mean, it's the financial nuclear option, and it's the West that's sitting on the nuclear bomb, not Russia.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like a guy who's holding himself hostage and puts a gun to his head and goes, "Get any closer, and I'm going to kill the hostage." Right? I mean, right?
Exactly. That's the way I see it. Normally, I have fairly quiet weekends. I've been on the phone with people all weekend long, particularly new people wanting to purchase gold, wanting to purchase silver, and get their money out of banks first thing Monday morning.
Now, is that just in Canada? Is that around the world? Is that in the United States? Where is that?
I'm going to say probably I've been contacted by 15 or 20% have been Canadian and the rest Americans.
And then we had this today. The European Central Bank's Lagarde urges immediate crypto regulation to stop Putin evading sanctions. So it appears she's saying that if you're into crypto, you're associated with Putin. I mean,
you're a terrorist.
Right. Bill, this is an issue. This is a problem if you got crypto. Am I off?
Well, it's eventually, yeah. I mean, and we've said this all along, is that if central banks come out with their own digital currencies, they're not going to allow competition with, if you want to call them private cryptos, whatever you want to call them. They have got to be the only game in town. So I have no idea what or how, but it looks to me like central banks, sovereign treasuries are going to make crypto's life difficult.